Ryan Day has spoken. It's taken more than a month. We hadn't heard from the Ohio State coach since after the Cotton Bowl, but he had a lot on his plate, a very busy January, and now it's February. I believe it's Groundhog's Day.
It is Groundhog's Day.
Yeah.
And there's 8 more years of winter.
I looked outside.
If the groundhog can't get out of its hole because the snow is
and
too
look,
deep.
it's snowing again as we speak in Columbus.
Suffocated in his hole.
So he's dead, and it's the last.
Never
going to
be above 30 again.
It's sad, and it's also sad that the Super Bowl is Sunday, so we're running out of football games to talk about.
The kids were so sad. They're like, Dad, what's the game on tonight? I'm like, hey, buddy, hate to tell you.
Yeah.
My kids were excited. I was like, we can't watch football today. My youngest always calls it boring.
You can watch.
So they were excited.
You can watch the Raw after the Royal Rumble. That'll be plenty to break down. But welcome to the live show. We are at Roosters. It's a fun, casual joint. That's Justin Zwick, Nicole Cox, Bobby Carpenter. I am Austin Ward. Jeremy Birmingham will be joining us shortly. We have a lot to unpack from that busy month of January, and I think my main takeaway, Bob, so it was the Ryan Day Coaches Show. Roosters is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. They bring you that
I
content.
think they're the official
coaching
wings.
show.
The official wing
We are.
sponsor.
Official wing
We are.
sponsor.
So they brought you an hour of Ryan Day content on Friday evening.
Which, I mean, I feel like it used to be the signing day show, and it's like,
Oh, thank you. It has. It used to be.
It used to
Signing
be.
Day doesn't really exist for the
no,
Buckeyes
they
anymore.
should just call it like the portal show.
Mhm.
And
coaching
really,
staff show.
and the coaching
What
staff,
the heck's going on
I'm
show?
like, as far as like high school players, not a lot of information, but we did get a lot of portal guys, and we got a couple new coaches, so we can talk about them.
In fact, he didn't even hint about one more coach that he added on Saturday with a special teams coordinator coming over from Illinois, Robbie Disher.
I'm all, let me tell you this. I'm all in for any coach that's named Robbie.
Oh, you love that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a fair statement.
I mean, there's not a lot of Robbies out there.
Not a lot of Robbie.
Occasionally, I moonlight as a Robbie. 3 B's, 2 I's.
Well, it doesn't
And,
feel like
I could see that as well.
feel
Yes.
like a lot of
One of them has a little
It's a stage
accent.
name.
Yeah.
Roberts carry that past like high school. It
Yeah.
doesn't make it to adulthood.
Well, Robbie Hart, who most notably the lead singer of Final Warning out of The Wedding Singer, he also portrayed by Adam Sandler. He was also a Robbie, so I enjoyed him as well.
Yes.
He needs money. He wants to put it in a jar on
The
top
jar.
of the fridge.
That's where you come in.
So busy. I guess the main point was my takeaway, and I don't know how you all feel about this, was Ryan Day talking about the year 2026 and basically only the year 2026. It's like all the chips being pushed into the middle. Coaching staff portal, the way that you are building the roster, like everything is designed to maximize this particular year, which is the new way of college football.
I think that's the sad reality. He talked a little bit about that as far as they have a lot of new guys. Every place has a lot of new guys, but at Ohio State, you still want to bring guys in and develop from high school. He said that's currently part of our program, and we want to keep that part of the program because that's something that's important to the
That's a
fabric
big
of
class they have right now.
of
too,
Ohio
right?
State. Yes,
28.
28.
28, and he's like, and that probably won't be the case moving forward, but they still do want to bring some guys in and make sure they're developing. So every year you're not bringing in 30 portal guys, but there is going to be push and pull because guys leave, so you have to ultimately replace some of them. But I thought it was important that he said at Ohio State, we want to make sure that we try to maintain some of this, maybe more so than they do at other schools. And I hear a lot of stuff and see a lot of things on the interweb and the social medias of the world of, well, Ohio State's do this and that, and who cares about the rules and this, and the people that hop in there. I'm like, well, they're still there. And at Ohio State, love it or hate it, like, here's the thing. You can't try to say that you're better than everybody else if you're not going to try to set yourself apart from everybody else.
I think that's how you set yourself up to be mocked by calling yourself, I don't know, a Michigan man.
Yes, like, we're better than this. Oh, by the way, don't pay attention to what happened before. Like, we hold ourselves to a higher standard. Well, if you do that, then you actually have to hold a higher standard. And
What is it about the standard, Nicole? I can't remember.
You guys, we just need to come up with a date to discuss that. I've added
standard
more
show.
notes
Standard
since
show.
our last show.
Standard show.
Nope.
It is. And the thing is, though, Nicole, this is important, though, because the standards like that you have with how you operate and how you do things, not just the results. I think it's more about standards in the process, which I think you could appreciate.
Yes,
Like,
I do appreciate that.
You guys do a great job at Roosters because you have high standards for your employees and your team members of how they treat each other, how they treat the patrons that come in, and there's expectations with that. And so at Ohio State, it's no different. And I was having some conversations today about, why don't they just do this? Nobody's enforcing the rules. Like, well, the people that are in power at Ohio State, board members that are appointed by they're not elected like in Michigan where you can like garner public support. They're appointed by the governor of the state of Ohio, and they serve their terms. And then you've got the president, President Carter, who's not just president of the football team, president of the whole university, the medical center, everything, which we're lucky. We have a great president right now who really values the importance, I think, of sports and how forward-facing they are. But also he's a Navy guy, went to, Top Gun pilot. Like, I think he understands the importance of standards and like integrity and things like that. And also the people that are involved with the raising of the funds to be able to handle some of these things. And they want things done a certain way.
Yeah.
So the people up at charge, it's not like Ryan Day and Mark Pantoni and Ross Bjork, like, oh, we'll just go give money, duffel bags of money to people, and who cares about the rules? Like, their bosses and the people they really care about this. Like, it's an important thing to them. And the day that it's not, okay, well, then maybe that'll change. But they'll be aggressive, but they're not going to just completely subvert everything that's been laid out, because how can they tell people, like, we should follow the rules if you're not going to do it yourself?
That is, every time this conversation comes up, that is the counter argument. Well, no one's enforcing the rules. Okay. I mean, Ohio State is putting its own standards and practices in place, what it thinks it's going to work. And Nicole, you made this point a couple weeks ago. If you look at the last 15 years, 10 years, expanded playoff era, college football playoff era, whichever one you want to expand it to, who is the most consistent program in college football? They're probably doing something right, whoever they are. Is it
that would be us.
Oh,
that would
that's
be Ohio State.
Okay.
Ohio State University.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
It would. And I do agree with what you're saying, Bobby, in the sense of there are standards and sticking to what's important to know. I guess I can relate it to like the restaurant. One of our biggest, like something that is so important to all of us, and something that is something I ask myself every time I make a marketing decision or anything, is what is best for our guests and what is best for our employees. Because that we know, all the analyzation, all the numbers, everything else, like you don't need to look at that, because if you're taking care of these core things, everything else will fall into place. So as long as we stick to that, I mean, there are a lot of hands in the pot, and a lot of everything is so connected with the money and all of that. But
every decision they make like impacts another thing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's
kind of like redecorating your house. It's like you change one thing, you're like, well, it doesn't match that now. And then you're just...
So then you got to just decide what is the most important things in the house is. Yeah, what are the most important things we need to make sure match with our new decor?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Guys, I love how we just made that analogy work. It's great.
But that's the reality. Whatever it is that you deem most important, do that really well, and everything else usually takes care of itself.
100%.
And I think even with the NIL, when it started, they came out and were like, we're not going to just chase guys with money. We don't want to have that. We want to bring the right kind of people in. And now maybe that's changed a little bit, but it's still the same idea of we want to bring younger guys in here. If they want to stay around here, we want to develop them. We're going to go and pick and choose the right people to come in here, not just go out and spend all the money in the world just to have all the high paying guys.
Well, it's like Quinn Ewers in that situation. I'll give it from the perspective of a restaurant that could sponsor him with NIL money.
Wouldn't have been a great investment for someone who's here for 6 months.
Exactly. And for the team and for companies that were also giving him money. So it's hard. And I don't know, we are a little bit different in the sense of we want to support all the players. We don't have all the money in the world to be able to do that. But I don't know.
That's the part that I think, Bobby, we hear this a lot. Jay-Z, when you've been on the Buckeye show, you're hearing the same thing. Well, Ohio State makes more money. They have more revenue than anyone else in the country. Why don't they just turn around and spend it? They do spend it. They do spend it.
Yeah.
B, it is not an unlimited bucket. And C, when we talk about redecorating and every decision impacting someone else, if you are buying a really expensive rug, well, then now you have to buy a really expensive couch.
Really ties the room together.
And the other couch that you had, you got to do something with that. You're just going to throw it away on the wayside?
The other couch was reupholstered.
It was comfortable. It would like to be, I don't know, reimagined some way. And that becomes a very expensive proposition, either because you would like to keep it because it was once an expensive couch and now it feels undervalued, or you're just going to have to take it.
I already paid for it. I'm going to sit on it.
You're going to take it out to the curb or give it to Goodwill and find it a happy home in Bloomington, Indiana. I don't know.
It wants to go to a house where it's valued.
So
people like to sit on it.
I try to take the analogy further than it needed to go.
But it's true. Those are all real things. So that's
the couch part's not real, but
no.
but paying somebody, to Justin's point, up front just because you could, well, it doesn't mean that your conversation is over, because that same player at that position that's already proven is going to come back and say, well, that's what you gave this guy. Now I'm going to need more. And you cannot just keep going infinitely to billions and billions of dollars for college football rosters, because, as Nicole said, those might not be great returns on your investment.
Exactly. And I was trying to think of a way to describe this, but I also feel I just hope the players, and this is what I was kind of saying last week, that the players take into consideration, it's like getting a job. You can have a startup company offer you $150,000 to come in. You're going to work crazy hours. You don't know if it's actually going to work out or, and they might not appreciate you. You might be worked like a dog, or you can go to this other company, maybe make $100,000, but you're appreciated. They train you, they believe in you, and in the long run, it's going to end up taking you further, which is where I feel like that balance is. I hope the kids are not just like, well, he's going to give me 50 grand, however much more.
Yep.
And I understand money is important. I do understand.
Spends the same for everybody. I tell people like, oh, they're making this much. I'm like, yeah, but it still spends the same. When you go to buy stuff at Roosters, the same dollars spent, buy the same amount of chicken for everybody, or the same this.
Well, if you have 3 of them and you come in on Tuesday,
then
you can get.
By the way,
Oh.
these are really good.
I'm
I'm looking forward to eating these later.
They were still steaming.
They
when
smelled
they came out and put them in
so
front of
good when she set them down. It was like, wow.
The cheesy bacon,
and the bacon
wedge.
bites on top, they're distributed perfectly.
I do feel like it is the ultimate cheesy bacon delivery device.
Doesn't it's not flimsy.
I don't.
It goes right in the mouth.
Yeah. What's that?
You want me to tell you they're $3 all day long?
What did Justin just say?
He wasn't paying attention.
I was already thinking
was
about
not either.
Well, because I was thinking of what I'm going to do later is I'm going to take this home and then I'm going to put.
I haven't seen a ball up in a while, so I just
it's real flimsy when it goes in your mouth.
yeah, it's so flimsy.
Listen, these are a lot.
They're
These are
really
a lot
girthy wedges.
firmer. The delivery mechanism is better. But I'm going to take all these. I'm going to put them in the air fryer and turn it all together, and then it just kind of like bakes them all together. Oh, they're so.
Spicy
I think
ranch on the side.
they're even better.
Yes.
Jay-Z, was there anything else that you took away from the Ryan Day Coaches Show or the special teams moves? Anything else over the weekend?
I was kind of excited to see a smart kid come from Dartmouth?
Dartmouth?
Yeah,
Ooh,
an offensive lineman.
Oh, Jay-Z's taking us to offensive line
who's played a ton of snaps at different positions. So I think that's a good portal get.
700 career snaps. I think.
Yeah, I mean, so that's a good, a lot of experience.
Primary position and a secondary position.
Bounce them around a little bit, so we're gonna have, adds a little depth there. I think that was one position that a lot of people would have said, "Hey, we need to go get offensive line," and we didn't. But
one of the interesting things is Ryan said they only had one starter that left and entered the portal, which I don't know if you can say that about many other top 10 teams, because if you're a top 10 team, everybody kind of wants your guys because you're good for a reason. And specifically with the offensive line, there was a question about, investing more in that. And he's like, well, we did invest. We reinvested to keep our players here, guys who have played a lot, who have played well. You have some younger guys that you've seen a little from that have got offers to go other places, maybe some fairly substantial offers that chose to stay probably for less. So, okay, let's continue to grow and develop those guys. And after
they get it.
Hearing some, yes, there was one guy that I heard in particular that I almost was nauseated when I heard that he stayed.
There are those moments as well.
I would have left, buddy. I wouldn't even have been mad at you either. Okay.
Good for him. Yeah. It just speaks volumes of they're focused on our program and making sure I do agree with you on the standard talk on that. Yeah. We have a standard and it's a good quality program and the kids know that.
But I also don't think it should be taken for granted that Austin Saravel or Carson Hinsman or Luke Montgomery are taking massive discounts to stay.
Yeah.
I mean,
they got paid more, but they could have still gotten more.
Could have still got more. But that's the balance. And what's the you've invested? Austin Saravel is a captain at Ohio State. Mm-hmm. I think his choice would have been NFL or whatever the offer is in the dollar amount from Ohio State, not necessarily transfer portal conversations, but Luke Montgomery would have been in a spot where can go to the open market. And
Yeah.
all of them could, but I don't think that out of the guys that they were trying to retain, like Luke Montgomery would have been the most difficult to do so in terms of teams trying to back channel in conversations and tamper, because as we've seen, and Dabo Swinney suggested with Ole Miss, like there's really no repercussions for that. So that's more difficult than ever. But Jay-Z, to that point, like Ryan Day brought that up on Friday nights. Like, they did invest in the offensive line, and those guys are not coming back to play for free. Like,
and I think people don't realize that, right? Oh, we didn't bring any big-time offensive line. Well, we have some big-time ones, and we need to keep them, and everybody's getting raises every year, so we got to,
you could have one Jordan Seaton, or you could have 4 returning starters. Like, it seems like a pretty easy conversation for me.
I think I agree with that 100%. I'm glad. I hope I made that clear too. I do understand that these players that are the elite, they deserve to be paid more, just like in the business, in the business world.
Well, and that's the point for Austin Sareveld, Carson Hensman, Phillip Daniels, Luke Montgomery, is that they earned it. Now we can say
even like Padilla and even Ian Moore, like both of those guys,
they
played enough. We're like, okay, there's something there.
Yep.
We like you.
We don't want to have to find somebody to replace them.
But other places are like, we will bring you in, and
Mm-hmm.
we will pay you probably more than Ohio State.
We like you too. What's it going to take to get you out of the Woody Hayes Athletic Center? That's the difficult part, and that's why that month of January is broken and insane, because every single player in your roster is a free agent.
Which is why.
Oh my gosh.
Well, within reason, I guess. If you can sign them to multi-year contracts,
doesn't matter.
Those don't even matter anymore.
Doesn't matter. Darian Benson.
Yeah, he had a 2-year contract, right?
I don't know. The one for DeMond Williams worked for Washington.
It did. That was the one.
They need to get that one and just make that the one.
Well, the good news is that team is in the Big Ten, so a lot of those NIL agreements are boilerplate across the Big Ten. So maybe they will be more useful going forward. I don't know. That's just speculation. Bob, what else did you take away on Friday night?
What was Friday night?
Ryan Day's
do we know
it was on an odd day. It was usually on Wednesdays.
What do we know about the
Thursdays.
special teams coach?
I think he's done a good job.
Other than Robbie.
Robbie
Other than
Disher.
his name?
He was at Oklahoma State.
He's been at Illinois.
But Illinois, no.
When he
had a good kicker at Illinois.
He was at Georgia. He was
Special teams.
before they opened up the staff and roster stuff. He was like the special teams analyst, which probably meant at Georgia he was their special teams coach.
Yeah.
And they just called him the analyst because they had to. And I think he did a pretty good job there, And then he went from there to Tulane.
He's been around. Yeah, he's had, I think, 6 or 7 different stops at the college level. Been at Illinois for the last 3 years. The first season that he got there, Jay-Z, they blocked 7 kicks.
Okay.
They've been productive with their both punter and kicking game. Like, their kicker was one of the more coveted guys on the transfer portal market this offseason. Wonder if things had gone differently with the timing, if Ohio State had been able to land him. They did land a freshman kicker for Baylor already, but they've been very good. If you take the PFF rankings, they've been a top 30 special teams unit collectively over the last couple of years at Illinois. I think what I like about it is that when you think about the blocked kicks and having 7, which that year I think was 3 more than anyone else in college football, Illinois is doing that with less talent. They're trying to find an edge on special teams where the approach to me, I don't know if you disagree with this, Bob, has been don't make mistakes on special teams.
I don't think there was the emphasis to maybe
to use it as a weapon.
Yes, and not that they didn't want to. It's just that there wasn't. When it's everybody's job, it's nobody's job. And so now that you have somebody like they would, and to make it clear, like with Tress, we would have somebody that was in charge of it, but then different coaches would take different units of special teams, and then that would kind of be your area. But just having like a cohesive plan, that's an umbrella plan over everything. You can have your individual plans, but what are we trying to get done on a game-by-game basis for special teams? How does the weather impact that? What are our players trying to do as far as who's up, who's down with different offenses or defensive schemes we're going to be using more? How do we kind of utilize those guys the best that we possibly can?
So I think it was a good hire. Ohio State had, he wasn't the only candidate that was involved here. They tried to get Marty Biaggi. They interviewed him from Notre Dame. Buyout was in place there. Apparently that's when the Marcus Freeman tree, the Jim Tressel tree that Marcus Freeman is on, valuing the special teams coordinator. He's one of the highest paid coaches they have. That was one of the few that stood in the way from that process. So Robbie Disher, looking forward to getting to know him and Arthur Smith. I know, Nicole, you spent last week because we missed you last Tuesday. You didn't get a chance to weigh in on that, or what Bob said was the more important hire, which was Anthony Schlegel returning.
Oh, I saw that, and I'm so excited.
You can actually hear him if you get really quiet. You can hear him yelling in the weight room.
You guys, I'm not kidding. I've taken a workout class with him before, and it is, you just go as hard as you can.
You jump in there for some mat drills or what?
Well, I was listening to your show about that as well, and I do think it'd be really fun for all of us to go work out together and see who can last the longest. And just, we could add a variety of things so nobody specializes in one thing. I think that'd be a fun show. I do.
Some circuits.
Yep.
That'd be fun.
Have Schlegel put
but
us
I get
through.
to pick a circuit.
Yeah.
You get to pick one.
What's your circuit?
Well, I would do like a Pure Bar, like an isometric hold.
Yeah.
That's
Is there
good.
a
Bobby, I don't know.
You just want to burn us out. You just want to burn us out quick. Yeah.
You act like I've never been on a reformer before.
Okay, you're right.
Listen,
I know you have.
Is there a putting circuit?
We can do that as well.
Putting circuit. I will tell this.
They have a simulator over there. We can get on and we can play a hole.
Seriously, guys, this is like
That
takes
might
up
be
a
the-
show when
This could be
everything's
like
slow.
the live show Olympics.
Yep.
Schlegs.
Might be the
Ooh,
only one.
yeah.
Oh.
It'd be great.
I stopped it on Friday. Last week was a little rough start because they had class closed. It was level 3 on Monday, so they didn't have workouts. And then Tuesday got into it. But by Friday, it tasted like Schlegel ate 10 gallons or it sounded like he ate 10 gallons of sand. I'm like, how is your voice?
His voice is out of practice?
Oh my gosh. He's like, are you doing a cough drop? He's like, no, I got to toughen it up. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
I love him.
I gotta toughen it
The
up.
scarring of your vocal cords. You're like Adam Sandler. You're like Happy Gilmore over there just taking balls like in the pitching machine.
Literally.
Tryouts.
It was brutal.
He is someone that just can get you so pumped up. Like I'm just so glad they have him in there.
Let's go right now.
He is a special human being.
Did
He
he
is
carve out an
incredible.
exception to his contract so he can go on the cruise still during one of
No,
the
they've got
workouts?
listen. They've got so many new guys.
Okay.
He's got to be there to mold. You know, it's gonna
Got to
kind
mold
of.
the clay.
Yeah.
It is. It's gonna be like kind of a
He's got a lot of faces to melt
a
off.
Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore situation in Ghost where they're on the clay. He's got to mold the pot. You know, those guys. It's like putty in his hands.
He's a wonderful artist.
I'm not sure if he's Demi, Pat, or Whoopi in that scenario. We're unknown.
He might be all three. He,
might be
he
all
does
Might be
all
all
of them.
three.
He's
Okay.
he's everybody.
We'll find out in
He's so
September
great.
what he was able to do and what he was able to build. Nicole, what else is going on for Roosters? You got a busy February coming up as well.
We do. Super Bowl.
Super Bowl
coming
Sunday.
up. So that's exciting. People
guys
just
open for
call
the
ahead.
Super Bowl?
Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl?
I given up on that.
Who would
Just
you like
after-
to?
I saw
You
Kate
got-
Stover in there today.
You
He's doing
did?
better. Yeah, he was in the Woodies.
How's he
so
doing?
He's doing good. He tweaked his knee in the game, but he
Yeah.
said he's okay.
But it wasn't a torn ACL?
No, he's okay.
Good.
Sweet.
What? That
So-
wasn't a torn ACL? He looked
Yeah,
like
it
he
looked
was
like it was-
dead.
No, he walked in there. He goes, no, it's fine. He goes, MCL, I'm good.
Okay.
Well,
I love to hear that.
cows don't take days off.
Exactly. We were talking about that. My
Hey,
parents
Bob,
had
if you see
3
him, just tell him I thought he did great, and I just love him being on that team.
And he's like, hey, you know, it just happens. Like, hey, I've been on playoff teams where you get there and like you just hit a buzzsaw where everything they do works out and nothing you do
Yep.
works out. And they're like in the middle of the third quarter, like, yeah, it's not our day today. It sucks. We just played a whole
is so
season.
weird.
Yeah,
and
just went through all this stuff and then just like didn't have it today.
It's literally the Ohio State Miami game. I mean, it really is. But that makes football.
Yeah.
So-
You got Mike.
Sports.
You got Mike Vrabel and Travion Henderson and Jackson Smith and Jigba on
I'm
Sunday.
so excited for
it's
them.
almost like you can't lose.
The Patriots are back in the Super Bowl, you know? So,
Your favorite.
no, I do like it. It's just, I love the underdogs. I love,
Patriots
Yeah.
underdog. I mean, Mike Vrabel just.
you think?
I'm joking.
I was going to say, I feel
They're
like I've
poor
seen them
fans.
my
I mean,
whole
it's
life.
poor-
They're
yeah,
in
poor
the Super Bowl.
They're
They
poor
actually.
fans.
I mean, they actually are the
They had
underdogs.
to take like 2 years off. Those poor fans.
Hey,
amazing.
they had those rough years. That's how Vrabel
No.
got the job back anyway.
I'm
All right, so the
kidding.
Super Bowl.
He was in Cleveland and we let him go.
Yeah. Wow.
Stupid.
Don't think
Guys,
he was
think
going to
how great
volunteer
it'll-
to stay.
Think how great it'll be when the Browns get to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, everybody will be happy for them because it will be witnessing something in history. You know what I mean?
They might be the worst Super Bowl loss of all time. The Browns will get crushed.
Oh, I
I-
know.
I don't
Let's-
even want to think about that.
Let's
But-
not get our hopes up.
Shark,
I
that
know.
might kill Shark.
No, but I'm happy for the teams. It's great. And then obviously we're open. It's one of the busiest days, so I recommend calling ahead if you want to do a carry out and just Thank
Is
you
there
for
a
thinking
carryout
of
deal this
Roosters
year?
for your. There's
No?
not
Okay.
this year,
My mistake.
but
I should have asked
just
beforehand.
for it's okay, just for logistics and things. So,
Okay.
but it should be great. Yeah,
Can't wait.
and then we have the cruise coming up.
Yeah.
So we'll be here the day before the cruise, the 16th, for a show.
Got all those
But
hot sauces ready to
all
go?
this, Joel's here
I
now.
know.
That's
I
what we're
told
chatting
him,
about.
I told him he's
That
got to
whole-
give me a little wink
that
like, this
crap-
one's not that bad. Go ahead and try
that
this.
crap last
Oh,
year.
you got it good last year.
Where I ate,
That was,
That was
they
hilarious.
Had
Hysterical.
moved the
The
puzzle.
table was over by Doug and I, and
It's like, this is not what that was listed as.
somebody said it inside his plate.
And listen, in all fairness, I kind of just eat whatever's there, and I probably should have paid more attention. Like, this
I-
doesn't look the same color as the.
I do want to
the
say
other ones.
I was proud of you for
you-
keeping because we
Tell
saw
my wife that. by
Yeah,
the way.
you could have gone to
you could have went one of two
Yeah,
ways, and you
we
didn't
saw
go
it.
down the other one. And
we
it was
saw you
good.
debating it, and then you took the good choice, and
Yeah.
you were calm, and you didn't. Yeah, it was.
That's
It worked out way better for us.
Yeah,
than
well.
for-
Was
I'm a
there,
man. I'm a man. I'm 40 now. So we gotta-
was there any
Maybe
sweat coming out of the eyes, or
no, but it's the problem is like you can't drink enough.
No.
I mean, I'm like just chewing
Some
on
of these hot
ice,
sauces are
trying
stupid.
to
Yeah.
drink beers, some milk. Like it doesn't matter.
It's uncomfortable.
Anything. It's just. I'm sitting there. I'm like, this is miserable. I want to be enjoying this.
Yeah.
It was like 15 minutes.
I've done the one chip challenge. I can relate to what you were going through. But that lasted a lot longer than 15 minutes.
It may have been longer. I don't know. I just
All right, so Roosters Super Bowl Sunday.
trying not to yell at people.
You don't want to miss it. And if you can't wait till Sunday, you can come in on Tuesday and get those cheesy bacon wedges on appetizer Tuesday. They're $3. We're going to let Nicole go plan the rest of her February. We're going to bring in Birm as we roll along
Yes.
on the live show at Roosters. It's a fun, casual joy.
The Roosters Foundation helps us be able to give back to the community. It's part of our culture within the company.
They donate to organizations that are near and dear to their heart, and we're so fortunate to have been with Roosters now for a long time.
They always go above and beyond to help support our foundation to further help veterans.
It's just a wonderful feeling to know that Roosters supports the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer.
All the folks at Roosters are just genuinely kind folks, and they want to make a difference.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Thank you, Roosters.
Thank you, Roosters.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Welcome back into Roosters. It is the live show. Birm is here. How are the roads?
We're good.
Everything's safe up there?
Everything's great.
Nice and warm?
Well, no.
No?
But
Ooh,
everything's
not
fine.
everything.
It's winter. It's February. We're in the what they would call the dead of winter.
Right. This is the best part. It's the last. It's I call it the big push.
It's
You
the
get
last
through
hurrah.
the last 4 months, and then you'll be good to go.
That idiot groundhog is saw a shadow, so we're screwed for 6 more weeks.
He
but
did?
whatever.
He popped out?
Yeah.
When was the last time he didn't see a shadow? I feel like he sees it every year.
I don't. What's frustrating about that is that means that day regularly there's sun in that part of Pennsylvania, and like
That's not real.
How come we're not getting it?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
We did get a couple sunny
Yeah,
days.
the last 2 days.
They
were
just are
beautiful.
shining a spotlight on
I do.
it.
Before we talk about Ohio State football, I do want to mention 2 things from the first segment of the show.
Okay.
A, the minute Robbie over here started talking about Robbie, I immediately looked up Robbie Hart to see how he spelled Robbie Hart. So when you said Robbie Hart, I was looking at Robbie Hart on my computer. Adam Sandler in The Wedding Singer. Fantastic. Number 2.
How did you like
Well,
it so
did you?
much?
You didn't tell us how he spelled it.
It's an IE.
Yeah, of course.
Number
Casey,
2.
have you seen The Wedding Singer?
Oh, yeah. I've
Okay.
seen it.
Number
That
2.
is-
Classics. Only
I
classics.
want
The
to bring up
classics.
I'm just
something.
checking.
Justin made a pop culture reference to the rug tying the room together. Austin's never
Is that-
seen The Big Lebowski.
Oh, come on. You've never seen a movie now.
So Austin's never seen The Big Lebowski.
Is that a
and
pop culture reference? It's 30 years old. almost.
It's
I
The Big
don't-
Lebowski for a man
For
over
us.
40 years old. That is an absolute pop culture
Okay.
reference.
Thank
I
you,
don't
Berm.
feel like I need to see it because every clip of that movie and every quote is already readily
You
available.
need to see
Yeah,
it all
well,
together.
Yeah, well, that's just
to
like
put the room together.
your
It
opinion.
really puts
That's
the
just-
room together.
That's just like your opinion, man.
Man.
It's
Yeah.
great.
Anyhow,
Now, would you like to talk about?
I mean, now we can talk about football. I just thought it was like
fact checking.
how
Was
long
there
have we-
anything else that we got
how long
wrong?
have we done this show?
A few years now.
7 or
Yeah.
8 years.
How many times has Justin Zwick ever made a pop
He's-
culture reference
every
that,
now and
No,
then.
he's stepping
that
him up.
someone else at the
No,
table
fair.
didn't get?
That's a good point.
Maybe we just were so in deep into the analogy that we didn't
It actually,
realize.
it was a great analogy. Actually, I mean, it is funny
Every
because
now and then.
Nicole bringing that up is it's absolutely correct. Like when you do one thing in your house, like the next thing is like, well, now we have to pay for this, and now we have, and that is life. But also the other thing is, you're talking about like the Ohio State budget surplus. That's not money Ohio State gets to spend on their football player house. Like they don't get to spend that money on the football
Where
player.
does it go?
In the neighborhood.
Well,
does it go to pay back the deficit from the year before?
It probably does.
Some
But,
of it.
but this is the point. Like that is the fundamental misunderstanding, and you still see it every day on social media. On Friday, when that 11 Warriors report came out about the budget or whatever it came from, it's people go, well, now let's spend this money on David Gabriel George as the 2027 running back. Well, they are not allowed.
You can't do that.
So, then we get back to Bob's point. Well, there's no rules. Who cares? Well, there are rules.
This isn't Nom Smokey. There are rules.
That's also from The Big Lebowski.
So I said, where is our Walter Solchik?
Right.
That's the guy we need who's running the NIL stuff.
Oh, God.
But the piece of way, man, they're calling the cops.
Yeah. I mean, that is the simple
Am
truth.
I the only one?
Who cares about the rules?
About the rules?
But
Market zero.
there's also, though, an element where you look at the revenue that's coming in, and Ohio State can spend that money on coaches when
Sure.
you get that approved by the athletic department, by the president of the university, by the board, because they are creating new positions. Like this special teams coordinator role is a new position. Arthur Smith's head coach of the offense role, separate from the 10 previous full-time spots, that is a new role, and they're not cheap. Like Ohio State is spending a great deal of money.
I thought it was a volunteer. The special teams coach is a volunteer position.
It used to be.
That's why we never got one.
You used to have to go.
So who was in
classes.
there this morning? Was from the specialists? Was there anybody that you're like, oh, I know that guy, or is it all everyone kind of dipped out?
What do you mean?
Like the coaches, obviously Robbie's not there yet, but is
Nate Ebner still was an assistant or something, wasn't he?
Nate left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought maybe he did.
Well, see, these are the questions that I'm like,
I
oh,
saw a commercial.
Nate had left on his own volition. He wanted to spend more time with his family, which, coaching, you got a newborn kid. I'm like, that's really not the way to do it.
Yeah, not the best year to start coaching.
To raise a child?
Well, not even to raise, like, hey, I just had a kid. I just got married.
I'm not going to be around for about 9 months.
Yeah, I'll see you later.
Yeah, I'll see you in 3 years.
That'd be tough.
So I think that was a little bit of that, where he just, lifestyle-wise and what he was trying to do. The coach, I think they were all in meetings when I was leaving, because I wanted to pop in and say hey to Maddie before I walked out. But yeah, I got a chance to see Arthur when he came through last week, and it was awesome. I'm really excited about that, and I think everybody should be pretty excited about the staff.
Seems like the early feedback. I've asked some people over there, like, what's it been like to get to know Arthur Smith so far. It's sounding very similar to the Matt Patricia experience.
I think there's a different expectation for maybe what people thought he was, which is,
it's not
amazing.
a surprise to people,
it's
which
amazing.
it was for Matt Patricia.
Like if you actually talk to somebody and you find out, and they're like, well, this is what I heard about him. Like, well, maybe if you actually, I'm not saying that other people's opinions might not be valid, but maybe form your own, and there might be some inherent biases when people are giving you that aforementioned opinion with that. So I know this. Aaron Rodgers liked him, and Aaron doesn't like a whole, I don't know if he approves.
As far as offensive guys go, Aaron's probably pretty picky on who he wants to coach him.
He's been playing for 20 years, so I don't know if he just lets any.
He feels like he knows more than these guys. Yeah.
If I ask you why and you can't tell me a good reason, then we're not going to do it, and I'm going to be tough. And I think having conversations with Arthur about that, and then starting to talk to AJ, and hopefully we can get Aaron to come over here, because Julian was one of the guys that he looked up to, I guess. As
a California guy. Makes sense.
And maybe Julian wants to go on that path like Aaron.
Let's go.
That darkness.
Let's get in that darkness retreat.
Oh, ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mother Aya, and go do all those things, all the things.
How does Arthur Smith get Julian saying the Heisman ayahuasca? That's the question.
Well,
right. Because that's where he has to take the team, right? That's like when you come in, you're the head coach of the offense, and you're actually running Ryan Day's offense. You're not coming in and having to implement a whole bunch of new stuff.
I don't think it's like running Ryan Day's. When they say that, we're going to keep the terminology the same.
He's going to learn how to fit into our terminology.
Yes, this is what we do. What do you call this? And sometimes there's more synergy with that than others. But like with Matt Patricia, the way that they call the defense now, outside of the Jim Knowles experiment and some of the, and Halfley wasn't that different. But like for going back to the time of like 2000 when Tress got here, for 25 years, I would say 20 of them, if not 21 or 2, like the terminology was fairly similar. So if you like walked by the room and you had played, like, oh yeah, like you probably know about 60, 70, 80% of it. Whereas like sometimes like, oh, we call this, we call that. We call cover 3 white. Well, why do we call it white? I don't know. That's just what we do. We call them colors instead of actual numbers. So, and I'm not saying things are right or wrong, but there's a certain
We did win a
cohesion.
national championship with that.
We did, and listen, and there's a certain like cohesion that comes with that. So what they're going to say is like, Arthur, here's what you've done. Ryan and him talk. All right, you call that. You call that. We're not going to force. And Nick Saban was like this. We're not going to force our players, because back then he goes, these guys are here. You're getting paid. Well, not everybody's getting paid, but we're going to force you to adapt to everybody else on your terminology, and then that way it's easier and more consistent for our young quarterback to be able to understand it.
Well, for our young everybody to understand it, right? I mean, you're bringing coach in, and this is the second new offense coordinator in 2 years. If you were switching everything up every year, I mean, the kids are having to start all over. I mean, it would be a disaster if you're, like, we're throwing all this out. Yeah. Here's all my terminology. It would go poorly.
And like you played in the same scheme for 5 years, like so. There's just a comfortability.
Yeah, there's a comfortability to it. And Julian, after the season he had last year, is so much more even comfortable.
Yes.
And so to build on that, you don't strip that down and make him think about a bunch of other stuff. We're going to go play fast. We're going to go do what you've been doing and what you're comfortable with.
I mean, this is actually the 5th offensive coordinator in 5 years, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
so I guess, yeah.
The 2-week era of Bill O'Brien always gets overlooked.
If you go back to 2022, I mean, then you go to Heartline, then you go to Bill O'Brien, then you go to Chip Kelly, then you go to Heartline. I mean, there's been a lot of change. So for a guy heading into year 3 at quarterback, for like Julian's saying, like the fact that all the terminology is going to stay somewhat the same, you have to have happen. Otherwise, you may as well not even return a third-year quarterback, because what's the point of that? So what is Arthur Smith? I mean, what is his job with Julian saying?
I think it's to get it, to grow him in the pocket. Like, we know what he can do. It's how do you, and I think there's a really good base there with him. And Justin can speak to this a lot. Like, but now how do you go, like, take this to grad school? You probably graduate, you took all your, your prereqs, you're here, like, you're starting to now have some mastery of what's going on. Part of it is the scheme. So, the first week of install, you're thinking about other stuff. I know the base plays of this. Like, I know the meat of like the 60, 70% of what we're doing. How can now, when I get up there, when I'm running 2 minute, can I add in a couple of other things? Can I add in some of these other checks? And that's what Arthur Smith saying Aaron would get just pissed at guys, because he's like, he sees it and he knows that the coverage is not what they're appearing to be. He knows it's this, and he's giving them like all the,
and they're not catching it.
And these guys are like, what are you talking about? It's whatever.
Yeah. So cover 2. Look at the 2 high safeties up there.
I was sitting there. Nobody, the linebackers over here. You can see this, and I've watched this coordinator do this 20 times before, and so now you need to bend your route at this route, and like him getting into that and like starting to understand where I can see things, I can start to solve some of the problems. As a coach would be able to do that on the field.
But there's also an element where Arthur Smith is not going to be directly responsible for Julian saying, because, as Ryan Day was talking about this during the coaches show on Friday.
Billy, don't
you have Billy Fessler back. You have Keenan Bailey. And Ryan Day talked about this publicly, something that we've suggested over the last 7 weeks, that the passing influence, the passing game philosophy that Ryan Day has always implemented for Ohio State, Billy Fessler and Keenan Bailey know that, and that was part of the selection set that was available. Could you have kept that an internal hire? Yes. Ultimately, he did what we expected him to do and hired a head coach of the offense. But Arthur Smith's, the way that I'm looking at it right now, and I'm curious to hear from Ryan Day again, like his area of expertise will be the run game and the offensive line. And so that means Billy Fessler remains the direct point of contact. But maybe, and you brought this up last week on the Beat Berm, maybe there's a world where even in the CEO role for Ryan Day, he may have more opportunity to be with the quarterbacks himself. Like,
you can be,
he'll be able to bounce around to any position.
Well, that's what he always did before, right? Like Ryan Day handled the starter, and the quarterback coach and the offense coordinator handled the rest of the quarterback room.
Yes.
So will this opportunity and this alignment allow Ryan Day that opportunity to be more hands-on with the starting quarterback like he used to be with C.J. Stroud and Justin Fields? That's something I'm interested to see. I'm also, from your perspective, as a guy that has been places, and when you know a system and a new coach comes in, it's kind of a reverse test. Like the coach can find out what by what you teach him.
Show me what you did.
And I think that's a really
Tell
unique
me about this. Why did you do?
Right. I think that's a really unique opportunity for Julian to get to know Arthur Smith, and for Arthur Smith to get to understand that side of the offense that he's not going to really be tasked with. But how, like, the offensive coordinator role is simple. We all kind of understand what his function
I've
is.
played Tecmo Bowl before.
Right. There's only 8 plays.
Pick one of the boxes.
I just asked Madden. He told me.
There's only 8 plays.
Let's get Bo Jackson.
But what is a new special teams coordinator? Like, doesn't that seem to be a like?
Well, there's a lot of different philosophies and
it's a bigger task.
It is. I think there's a lot more ambiguity in that role as far as what you can do.
How do you get the team
one,
to block 7 punts in your first year? What do you do different?
You try for one.
Give out bonuses.
And some of that is with the head coach of you talking like there needs to be a degree of like what type of game is it? What can we do? And Ryan has to have confidence in those things that we're able to do that. You know, that you're going to be able to execute on a fake, or you're going to be able to do this or do that.
If we're going to come after one, you're going to stay off the kicker if you don't get there, or just that discipline type stuff.
Yes, and you have to feel confident. You have to see in practice, and I feel like that might be there's a greater degree of that probably in this setup and alignment than maybe there was before. So it's not just about making field goals at the end of games. Which
do you think there's more aggression though when you bring in somebody like this? Like we're like we see this, and instead of maybe last year, hey, we're just going to play it safe, just get the ball. Then we see something that they're doing, we're going after, we're attacking, kind of on a punt or something.
Let's figure
that
out
we haven't seen
what we're good at, what they're where they struggle. Like let's lean in a little bit. Not that you lean in every play, but hey, there's going to be some times to be able to go do this. Like let's pick our shots, but make sure that we execute and get it done.
I think and it's not even, as you mentioned, Bob, missing field goals late in the game because,
although we would like to make those.
Those are better.
But you can't really coach that out of something.
It's kind of important to make those.
I don't
is
know.
That directly on the
sit there and spray them with a hose while they're kicking. Belichick used to do
Belichick used to do. I mean,
you could just have Urban Meyer.
Their kickers made a lot of good kicks back in
right behind
those
him.
days.
I mean, that makes it that's the most public-facing and easiest way to evaluate, the success or failure of a special teams coordinator. But the things that drove me crazy and not just last year and not just the last 2 years,
6-year problem.
5 years. And you think about the botched fakes in a loss to Michigan, followed by a botched fake against Georgia in the Peach Bowl, and not having the amount of people on the field that you need, or having a procedure penalty on a really freaking good punt that may have helped you win the Cotton Bowl.
That to me is the biggest thing is you give up 20 yards of field position
because you didn't line up
of a procedure penalty, and then maybe some inconsistency out of your punter. And those things, like, that may have made the difference in that game. Because you call a game differently when you're on your own 10-yard line than when you're on your 30, and, like, a score beats you. Yeah. So you don't want to give it away. Like, so there's – that to me was like – because the procedure penalty, that's just attention to detail.
Yeah, so it goes even further. It wasn't to me about the lack of a punt return for a touchdown for a decade or 15 years for a kickoff return. It was not fielding them correctly. It was like
catching inside the 5-yard line. It's doing a lot of things that you probably are taught not to do.
The hidden yardage.
Letting it bounce over your head at the 30, and all of a sudden you're at the 10, which happens all the time for Ohio State.
The punt return team is where all, like, the hidden yardage comes in. Like, your drive start kickoff returns, like, they're a little bit antiquated now just because of how it's set up. And there still are opportunities.
Yeah, but 85% of the time you're starting at the 25 yard.
100%. But on the punt return, like whether it's blocks, you looked at Indiana. The game was starting to turn on them. What pivoted that back? A blocked punt in the national championship game for a touchdown. I'd walked out. I was like, how the hell did they score? How does Miami have the ball back? Like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Oh, that happened, and that kind of staved off that. Like the when the ball was over your head, you start looking. And I wanted to say Tress was like 60, it was like 600 yards of like totally goes, if we can find a way to get 30 to 40 yards of like drive, start, field position across our different drives, like that will make a difference. And we wind up getting, sometimes it's field goals over punts, sometimes it's touchdowns over field goals.
Yeah. So the last piece of this, and we've been talking about it for about 7 weeks, is Matt Patricia, and you talked about seeing him in there, Bob.
Are you recruiting him to stay? Is that what you got to say hi to him every time?
I mean, it's smart. Yeah. I would like him to stay.
We would like you to keep doing that.
I told him I would like him to stay. I told anybody that I know that would have influence over that. I think it would be good for him to stay. I think they are.
I think they want him to stay.
I think they have a general awareness of that they would like him to stay as well.
But it does feel like from the outside that we're probably going to have to wait another week because the Raiders did leak that they're going to hire Clint Kubiak.
And I don't know Matt's relationship with Clint off the top of my head, so I'm not positive.
And that dynamic is interesting to me because there's no way for me to know this. On the one, you can make an argument on the one hand that, well, Clint Kubiak is coming in. He probably wants his own guy as the defensive coordinator, somebody he knows, somebody he trusts, somebody from his, wing of the coaching tree. On the other hand, you can say, well, Tom Brady's been driving this bus for the Raiders. He's making the decision maybe to hire a first-time coach. Clint Kubiak had to make a concession. And I don't know the answer to that.
And I don't even know if it's a concession. It's the fact, like Clint, who's a football family guy.
All right, so that tree is a lot bigger than a first-time head coaches normally would be.
It is. So it's not like he's the guy coming in. His dad was a longtime assistant.
Long-time NFL head coach.
Long-time NFL head coach. Won a Super Bowl with Denver and Peyton when he was there. And so his dad, you look at some of the guys, like they've run a 3-4, they've run a 4-3. I think he might be more scheme agnostic on the defensive side as long as he's getting the right guy. And, I mean, there is a lot of connection when you start looking at between San Francisco and New England and, like, how those guys just philosophically how they run a program.
Yeah.
Maybe scheme might be a little different, but, like, how they run it. And Matt Patricia does also have something that a first-time head coach would potentially want is head coaching experience on the other side of knowing what it's like to have to sit in the big chair and answer those questions.
20 years of experience doing it on a really good program in New England as well.
Yeah, it's hard to, again, we've said this in a handful of different ways. Like, you don't blame either side for this continuing to drag on, because
although I think that they could get it done if they really wanted.
I
have a sense of that.
There are other things that are like involved in signing a contract, like actually building the contract and actually making sure that both sides have reasonable outs of a contract.
Yeah.
And so all those pieces have to be put into place. But Ohio State obviously has to protect Ohio State. Matt Patricia has to protect Matt Patricia and his interests. It's clear he doesn't just have a desire to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because if that was the case, he probably would not be down the street working right now, because a lot of guys are able to, take a week off if they wanted to right now. So it just seems like it's
during the week of National Signing Day. Like, what a world we live in now.
It just seems like this is something that there are little roadblocks to getting it done that could be overcome pretty easily if both sides was like, hey, let's just meet in the middle on this thing.
Well, what is it?
You start walking one way,
and I'll start walking mine. Little Diamond Rio.
Middle?
A Little Diamond Rio.
Gosh, Birm's on his A game today.
What a classic tune.
It was 700 fence posts between your house and mine.
Gosh, good job. That's a country reference, Jay-Z. You should get that.
I was there.
All right, I was there.
I was there.
He was there.
I was there.
I was there.
The point is, everyone down the street wants Matt Patricia back.
Yep.
I
think Matt Patricia wants
everybody in Ohio
So
wants
just
Matt
get it
Patricia
done.
back.
Just get it done. Make sure that he has what he needs out of it
I agree with that.
and wants out of it, and make sure Ohio State gets what they need out of it, which is to not have to change their defensive coordinator again heading into one of the most difficult schedules in program history with a completely renovated defense. And not just renovating it because you have to replace a defensive coordinator now, if that happens, but you're replacing 8 starters again. And you just can't keep doing this all the time.
And I think it was renovated to
the specifications.
The specs of the scheme of what they were trying to get done.
Yeah.
Is there any sense, and I'm just going to ask you because I know you're down there, but is there any sense that there is a desire on either side to have more control over other parts of the program and not just the Matt Patricia, as you said, like he's coming from a history, a litany of experience of program building with New England, right? Yeah. This is not a guy who's just a X's and O's coordinator. Like, he knows how to build a program. Yeah. Is there any sense that he can help the program evolutionize what they do in other areas, like personnel and stuff like that? Because I think that there's a real argument to be made that he should.
I think Ryan, I don't know that Matt, I don't know that that's something that he is like, I need to be
taking over. Like, hey, let me look at this whole thing. I'm going to give you
Get Mark Pantoni. Slide down, buddy.
I think that there's ways
Coach,
that
you're doing a nice job here, but I think I'm going to come in and make this a little bit better.
I think there have been, at least, because Ryan's a smart guy, and like he recognizes when there's other smart people in the room. The smartest people don't have the answers. They know where to find them. And I think Ryan has acknowledged, like, hey, you got a guy who's a great resource. Like, let's use him. I don't think that's something that, like, Matt's demanding. Like, I need to have more control over whatever. I think that they said, what type of defense do you want? How do we want to build this? Like, let's have conversations and talk. And then, obviously budgetary things and what are the players that are really important? What are the high value positions that we need? Like, and talk through that. And I think it's worked pretty well. So I think there's a scenario where Ryan's like, hey, I'm going to keep leaning on Matt for more things. Yeah, I think that might also be possible as well.
Yeah, highly successful people get to be highly successful because they're constantly finding ways to impact organizations in ways that are not just what they're there for, right? Yeah. So if Matt Patricia is really, really good at understanding,
that's really, really smart.
Right. If he understands personnel and budgets and how to build, then and the scouting department at Ohio State is not up to snuff where it needs to be, or if you are feeling like, hey, this is actually something that worked pretty well for us in the NFL when we won 14 Super Bowls. Don't you turn around and say, well, also we could do this, and I don't know. It just seems like there's ways to get him more involved.
So bring in Anthony Schlegel.
Yeah, there's ways to get him more involved.
Bring me the Schlegs.
that would justify giving him more money as well.
And maybe that's part of it. Yeah, I get that. Like additional layers and roles and titles, and maybe you give him the assistant to the head coach,
assistant to the general manager,
assistant to the general manager, whatever it is. But like Matt is one of the smartest guys I've been around, and there's smart coaches, but there's not as many of those guys that they're just out of the box thinkers,
right.
as you would imagine.
But he's smart enough to understand the business of the sport, not just the sport. And and I think that you can lean into that.
Yeah, and oversee the entirety of the program, the intricacy of how things operate and how they work, and how can we continue to get better? How can we build this in with our offseason program and the health and the wellness stuff, the training room, all those things. Yeah, I mean, because
he's the guy who's been an NFL head coach. He's not. I don't. Even if he said to himself, "I'm only concerned about being defensive coordinator. That's all I care about."
But so many other things impact you,
right? And everything leaks into it, and so then you have no choice but to interject and inject yourself into those other situations. So I just figured, hey, make him it's associate head coach and go from there.
It's like redecorating a house.
Exactly.
But I think that there is, and also he worked for a guy who for 20 years who was the ultimate funnel. Everything that happened in New England went through Bill Belichick. I mean, everything.
And you work closely with him. And
I wanted to, and he was with him for a long time. And Matt is incredibly loyal, and he was incredibly loyal to Bill, to the point where I was doing one of my radio shows in the offseason from the Fan, and they had to ask Bill if I could do that in the team radio thing. And I'm like, why does Bill listen? I'm like, okay.
He's the boss.
I'm like, I'm not.
I'm just going to go ahead and run this by him.
This is like a Columbus radio station. They can give two craps about what's going on with the Patriots. I'm not, outside of me talking about getting a lift in today, that's about all that is going to be there.
Yeah. Well, we know that Nicole is the one who makes all calls the shots around here. And she said appetizer Thursday is going to be cheesy bacon wedges this week, $3. So get in and grab that, and then come watch the Super Bowl at your local Roosters on Sunday.
Yes.
Can't wait for that. One more game, and then the end of the 2025 season is finally arrived. It'll be a sad day for all of us, but we'll be back in to talk about it next Monday. Not all of us. I think Jay-Z's going to be gone next week. Bob's going to be gone next week. So it'll be a rotating cast. Maybe we'll have Brad and Zach. I don't know. We'll figure something out. We'll be back for the live show. It is at Roosters. It's a fun, casual joint. Thanks to Nicole, Jay-Z, Bob, and Birm. I am Austin. Have a great week, folks.